All right, welcome everybody to another Gypsy Road show with my co-host Dr. Wu, and today is exciting. This is really exciting because today we're going to be talking about Black Tom. Okay, Black Tom. There's a lot of mystery about Black Tom. There's a lot of people who claims that Black Tom just appeared. There's a Mandela effect with Black Tom. There's a conspiracy with Black Tom. And I'm not here to tell you that there's a real conspiracy with Black Tom, because you could create a conspiracy on any topics. Any topics there is, you could create a conspiracy. Maybe there is Mandela effects in it. And that's the thing. That's why we're having the show today, because we're going to talk about the history of Black Tom, and then we'll figure out, is there a conspiracy about Black Tom, or is there a Mandela effect about Black Tom? And that's what we're here for. That's why we're doing this show today, because I've just been hearing the word Black Tom everywhere. And I really want to know, is there a conspiracy about Black Tom? Because this is something that I remember we didn't do like a lot of studying on this, but in 8th grade in junior high in history class, we had a class talking about the Germans, about World War I, World War II, how the Germans after World War I, how we compressed them so much to the point where they can't even breathe. And I'm not saying we created the Nazis and all that, but the world didn't help once we won the war in World War I. So Black Tom is a piece of history that has happened during World War I. And I love this kind of a topic. I know this is not a paranormal type of show kind of today, but maybe there is some paranormal with Black Tom. So we're gonna talk about all of it. Mandela effects, conspiracies, everything with Black Tom. And I'm like I said, I'm really excited because you don't really see a lot of movies about World War I at all anymore. I mean, I think the only two movies that I can remember in the last 2 years on Black Tom is, believe it or not, Wonder Woman. The first Wonder Woman was the origin of that was World War I, which that's why I think I liked Wonder Woman. And of course, you had the movie 1917 that was about World War I, which to me, the 1917 movie was too artsy-fartsy for me. It didn't really show the real horror of war. I thought it was just too artsy, too much lighting. It's like when they were making 1917, they were so more worried about getting that perfect shot, that perfect angle, instead of the horror of World War I. That's just my opinion. And before we start, let me just say welcome to some people. Welcome, Tom Murr. Am I first in for a change? Tom, you're always first in our hearts. You're always first in our hearts. Lockbeard is here. Hobbs is here so far. We got Kurt Pelosi is here. And we got Nad that's here. AGM that's here so far. And like I said, we're also streaming on D Live, which I'm watching right now to make sure anybody wants to ask a question. D Live, I'm here for you. Twitter, Twitch, we're on everywhere, baby. This is what we're all about. So this is, like I said, for me, this is really exciting, and we're gonna kind of get right into it. But first, I do want to say thank you to some of you who actually was on my other channel yesterday. Let me just show it for a second. I want to thank some of you guys who were on my channel yesterday. I'm not gonna play this at all. But what I'm doing is I want to share this episode from yesterday. I know Tom Murr was there yesterday. I had a great time talking about the Conjuring movies, and I think one of the highlights for me during the video yesterday is I actually show a footage from Tom was there, Na was there. I showed the footage from Conjuring 2 when the girl was possessed talking, and then I played the real audio tape that was recorded with her being possessed, so people can hear both, hear the movie and hear the actual girl who's sounding like a possessed person, where you can make the decision yourself. I thought it was great. I thought it was fun. That's kind of a horror talk I like to do, but of course, not every movie is going to have a real live footage of something. That's it. Just happened to have it. And guys, what's also awesome about this, Na himself submitted a video clip on his channel on him catching footages of voices. So it was kind of cool. It's very interactive, and that's what horror talk is. It's more of an interactive. Like here, we're interactive, but horror talk, I really try to make it even more interactive. So, guys, check it out. It was really cool, and you can hear a lot of good footages. And beyond that, we're going to kind of get right into Black Tom. Here, let me just see if I think somebody was leaving a comment here. Let me see here for a second. It's about you, Tom. Yeah, Tom Murr, this is about you, baby. You're Black Tom. Was definitely something I've never, ever heard about until 3 years ago. And there's reasons why. No, there is reason why people haven't really talked about Black Tom. There is reasons behind it. It's not a conspiracy. And personally, for me, I don't even believe it's a Mandela effect at all. It is part of the history, and we're going to get into the history of it. That's the best thing about today's show. I'm just not here to tell you, hey guys, this is a conspiracy. Hey guys, this is a Mandela effect. What we're going to do first is we're going to talk about the history of Black Tom. I got a little video that I'm going to play about Black Tom, because one of the things that a lot of shows are lacking when they talk about Black Tom, especially when they're saying there's a conspiracy with Black Tom, they're not educating people. What is Black Tom even about? I mean, I've seen people on one channel where a person's talking about Black Tom, it's a conspiracy. Then I see this person on another channel saying, you guys know Black Tom, that conspiracy. And the guy doesn't even know anything about Black Tom. They don't even know about the history of Black Tom. So if we're going to jump on a bandwagon with Black Tom, if you're going to jump on somebody's bandwagon on it's a conspiracy for you, I think at first you should listen to the history of Black Tom first. Know your history before you jump on people's bandwagon. Because otherwise, it's like for me, for example, it's like hearing a 22-year-old kid saying, hey, what's your Mandela effect that made you believe in Mandela effect? Oh, Ed McMahon. I know he handed out checks. Really? You're 22 years old. You weren't even born in the 80s when these commercials were even live. How the fuck do you know Ed McMahon handing out checks? That's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. We got to get serious sometimes. We got to know the history. And we just can't jump on bandwagons just because everybody else is. Now, after we talk about the history, I got a video that I'm going to show. It's about 9 minutes. I'll play it. I'm going to pause it. And here, I want to make sure I'm not missing some important chats, because like I said, this is an interactive show. Okay. Oh yeah, you said 3 years ago, never let Black Tom cross your path. Yeah, Tom Murr, we don't want you to block our path, man. So you better be careful. So I'm gonna show up this video, and before I'm gonna get this up here. But before I start playing, yeah, he looked insane in some of those scenes. First of all, before I start hitting play, Bob, are you existing? Because I see you there.
Yeah, I'm here. I didn't know I was part of the show. You were kicking ass there for a couple of minutes there. Yes, I am here.
Yeah,
okay, I am here.
So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna play this video, and
Absolutely.
I picked this video on purpose, not because this video is done by a couple of kids who wanted to learn the history of Black Tom. Is telling us the history of Black Tom. A couple of kids. These kids are smarter than most of these conspiracy channels. These kids are studying the history of Black Tom. And it doesn't matter if you think the video is not perfect because these kids don't talk like a professional speaker. Just knowing that these kids took time out of their day to make a video about Black Tom where people are saying there's a conspiracy with it, but they don't know shit about Black Tom. They don't know crap. So we're going to play it. And Bob, there might be a few spots that I might pause it. And then, you can dissect some of these scenes. And then Bob's got a lot of great information that he's going to shoot to you all on Black Tom. So guys, let's get ready and let's have a good time. And I'm going to be trying to look in the chat. If somebody sees a scene and has a question, I'll try to catch it where I can pause it because we need to talk Black Tom through. We got to really pull this information in. So
remember, I have to mic because for some reason, I told you my tablet does a feedback, so I always have to mic it in between.
We'll do this, Bob. If I got my little iPad here to make sure we don't go off air, and if you need to say something and I can't hear you because you're on mute, you could just put in the chat like thumbs up or something that you want to talk, whatever you want to do. So
good copy.
Here we go. Let's play some of this.
On July 30th, 1916, at 2:08 a.m.
Let's pause for a second. I want to make sure that everybody can hear that. Can you guys hear that? Did you guys hear that? I want to make sure that you guys can hear the video. So let me know as soon as possible if you can't hear it once I press play. Let me know, and then I'll try to fix my audio to make sure you hear it. But let's get back to it. Yes, you can hear it. Thank you. Thank you very much. So let's hear it.
Black Tom Island, a munitions depot located on the Hudson River in Jersey City, was sabotaged by German spies. The island was named after a dark-skinned fisherman who lived on the island.
It was named for the individual who was the only resident of the island at the time. Kind of the general area.
A munitions depot is a place where the military stores their ammo, explosives, and weapons.
On the pier and warehouses, rail cars, siding, just a big rail yard. The pier with ships alongside, barges.
Black Tom, in New York Harbor, was a mile-long pier on landfill that was in the settlement called Communipaw, facing the Statue of Liberty.
Black Tom Pier included warehouses and railway tracks of the Lehigh Valley Railroad. It was considered a powder pier, filled with close to 100 freight cars loaded with 2 to 4 million pounds of explosives and small arms ammunition. The barge, Johnson 17, had over 50 tons of TNT, which was in violation of safety laws.
So I'm just pausing for a second. So if you guys know, this is the New York region. Near the Statue of Liberty, and this island that they were holding bombshells and stuff, and it was like it was considered one of the biggest compile besides the wars, besides the other countries where we had weapons, bombs all together on American soil. This little island had the most bombshells and stuff together. So this is off in New York near the Statue of Liberty right here, Lower Manhattan. Okay, so I just kind of want you guys to know the area because I know sometimes the video they talk a little bit light, and you don't get to hear everything clearly. So guys, this happened outside of New York, New Jersey area. Okay, and like I said, it's one of the biggest, and they were already breaking the rules for safety right off the bat. They were breaking the rules of safety, and right there, you're asking for trouble if something goes wrong. And of course, something did go wrong. So I want to thank Joey Rucka. He's here. Like he always says, Meredith is for morons. So, well, okay. Hey, his opinion. Good old Texas Danny's here. Hi, I guess this is something that belongs to this reality and all that. So let's get back to it.
At the time, the United States was not involved in World War I and claimed to be neutral. However, the U.S. was clearly selling munitions to the British and French.
The Germans were angry because the United States.
Just real quick, we were selling it to the British. We were selling it to the British, but at the time, we weren't actually involved in the war, and we were technically neutral. So basically, America was about selling it to the highest bidder. You know, that's
That was correct. Actually, they were selling it to both the Germans and the British.
yes, because
They covered the entire war.
Yeah,
in its entirety.
we were an open market. We weren't picked on a side. It was all about the money at the time.
Yeah, it was all the money, baby. It was all money.
So I want people to know that we weren't on anybody's side during this war part. It was basically an open market. We were selling to the highest bidder. Like whoever pays, they sell. If Bob's on the side of the street selling drugs, Bob don't care who you are. You sell it. If somebody offers more money, he's going to sell it to the highest bidder. And then once they bought it, they have leftover, he's going to sell it to these people. Whoever has the money is going to be able to buy Bob's drugs. So, okay, here we go.
Was providing the Allied powers with munition and support. Early Sunday morning, July 30th, 1916, an explosion at Blackstone Pier caused people to fly off their beds. Many thought that an earthquake was occurring. The series of explosions took place for hours and could be heard and felt about 90 miles away. The blast registered at 5.5 on the Richter scale.
And there's no news on the radio, there's no television. What's the rumors that people running around asking things people out in the street, what they think it's an earthquake or whatever. We're comfortable today. Something goes wrong, we're right on the phone, we're on the radio, or on the television. Glass Ocean Avenue, all the neighborhood, glass gone. New York City, glass gone. What was that, 5 point something on the Richter scale?
People in the Woolworths building.
Now I'm going to pause it for a second because what they were saying there is really important for people to understand. During the 1916, there weren't cell phones. There weren't even really phones. There wasn't the communication like there is now. So if there's even a huge explosion, you don't know anything. You don't know anything until the newspaper comes out the next day. In 1941, when the Pearl Harbor happened, we had telecommunication there. We had telephone. We have, what do you call it when you hit the button? I forgot. Oh my God. What do you call it?
Oh, when you're communicating messages like Morse code.
Morse code. So
Yeah.
the information, nobody knew what was going on yet, because back in 1916 it was almost impossible. Your news was the newspaper. It was the newspaper. That's where you got your news, and it's not like they have 10 million investigators ready to go out and exactly know who's coming from, because what you're going to learn about Black Tom is they didn't even really know who was behind it until it took a long time. So I want you guys to understand that. Get that part to understand. The communication was almost at zero in 1916. So
had witnessed the entire thing, and thinking their time would come, they got on their knees and prayed.
There was no security at Blacktown. Anybody was able to come in. There were no gates or barriers. The 8 security guards noticed flames on the pier. They knew that Blacktown Munitions Depot had tons of explosives, so a fire would be dangerous, and they fled. When they ran away from the pier, one sounded the fire alarm and alerted the Jersey City Fire Department.
And guys, real quick, at this part of the year, they had no security around these ocean parts of the country. There was like no security. The island that all these bombshells were on, it was shaded out there too, so anybody can go out there and do a sabotage because there just wasn't the security. Like nowadays, they would be, if there was any kind of bombs, they would be cameras everywhere. You know, nobody would be near to even get near the island, and they'll shoot you dead. But back then, they even said there is no security. So if you wanted to destroy something back then, it was very easy. I mean, America wasn't really involved, except only war that America wasn't involved was, of course, when the British tried to take over America when it was first born, and then we got in a war with ourselves, you know, but we weren't really, America wasn't in world wars yet until World War I. So the security wasn't there like it should have been. So just wanted everybody to know that. So doing a sabotage was not really a challenge. It was just whoever has the balls to do it. I mean, here we go.
At 2:45 a.m., there were flames all over the island, coming out of loaded freight cars as well as the barge Johnson 17. Author Jules Whitcover reports the blast jolted the Hudson tubes under the river connecting Lower Manhattan with Hoboken and Jersey City. In the Bayview and New York Bay cemeteries, monuments and tombstones.
Oh, hold on a second, Bob. Hold on, Bob. Somebody said, I expected Dr. Wu to look like a Dr. Wu in Jurassic Park. Instead, he looks like the real life Pidologist dude. I thought that was funny. I like that. That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, well, Bob did look like the Jurassic Park kind of guy yesterday, but the Mandela effect, you know, hit an effect, and Bob looks different. So we're just having a mismemory, false memory. So that's what that is.
Yeah, it's a false memory. That's all that is.
Were jolted askew.
Ellis Island, full of immigrants, had to be evacuated. Glass windows in Jersey City, Brooklyn, and Manhattan shattered. The people who lived in Jersey City went out to the waterfront to see what was happening. In churches, there was an unusually large amount of worshippers.
Downtown Jersey City was total chaos. Bullets were scattering. Munition shells were flying a mile away and exploding. The island was on fire. Hundreds of people were injured. But it was remarkable that only 4 or 5 people were killed in the explosion.
There's a little bit.
You know what's interesting? You know, at the end of it all, they said only 4 or 5 people technically died. But when the newspaper first came out, you know, it said explosion at Black Tom, 50 believed dead. So it kind of tells you that, you know, newspapers don't even get it right until they actually do a full investigation. And then finding out that there was a lot of hurt people. Of course, there was a lot of damage, but the amount of people you thought they died did not. And the reason I'm just bringing that up, that's one of the main reasons why Bob keeps telling people that do your research on everything, because not everybody's research is correct. You know, sometimes they hear something for the first time and they're kind of speaking about it and they don't really know what they're talking about until you know, research is important because like right here, 50 people believe dead. And it turns out only 4 or 5 died, which that's a miracle. But when they said, you know, the buildings exploded on land from this island, blew out windows. That's a small amount.
Yeah, all the way to Manhattan.
Yep. And I'm going to continue, but here, I want to make sure we don't miss a lot of people. You're scoping the thumb, friggin' is heading to outer space. Okay. I expected Dr. Wu. Sorry, that one. Makes perfect sense. Yeah, it does make perfect sense. You just had a Mandela effect. That it happens. It happens. And you know, tomorrow Bob might look like something different. You know, and we know that it's a Mandela effect because Mandela effect loves to be around Bob. Totally, Texas Danny. I tried something after the video this morning. Yeah. Oh yeah. Texas Danny did a great video. You know, about the army, which kind of perfect with this show about the war. So everything is like in line. So sounds like a great reason to not be neutral. I know, right? You're right. Well, you know, it proves, right? It proves that greed is your worst enemy. Greed, because you're right. Because we sold. See, a Mandela effect. I thought Bob had a hat. See, we sold to the country that we're gonna fight against. It's about greed, people. No matter what, all throughout history is greed. So I'm gonna go back and press play.
Damage was estimated at $20 million, which today will be $500 million.
Police first arrested 3 railroad company officials, thinking that the fire had started on freight cars. The guards were questioned because they lit smudge pots to keep the mosquitoes away. The fires could not be traced to smudge pots, and it was temporarily thought that the explosion was an accident.
Many companies sued the Lehigh Valley Railroad to recover the cost of their lost munitions at Black Tom. The King of Great Britain and Ireland, as well as the Republic of France, sued the railroad company. Those who sued managed to get their money back.
One suspect who was claimed responsible is Michael Kristoff, a 23-year-old Slovak immigrant living in Bayonne. He is believed to have started the fires at Black Tom and was paid $500 to do so. It is said that he bribed 2 of the guards to get.
Now, $500, guys. Remember, this is 1916. $500 is a lot of money. Back in 1916. Shit, I could use $500 right now. That's a lot of money for me right now. Imagine this in 1916. That's a hell of a lot of money.
Get him into the munitions depot.
Another suspect was Count Johann von Bernstorff, who wanted to help German war efforts by any means necessary. He also funded the sinking of American supply ships heading towards England. Von Bernstorff was in charge of many German spies, one of them being Franz von Rintelen, who had a special pencil bomb designed to detonate days after it was planted. He was responsible for the attacks of 36 ships.
To get into the war in World War I. The United States had to be dragged into World War I, as you probably know, that President Wilson resisted very strongly getting into World War I, and the disclosure of all these events were part of an argument that eventually could be made about the United States going into World War I. It wasn't the immediate one, because what really broke the back of the resistance of Wilson to get into the war was something called the Zimmerman telegram. The German Foreign Office, whose name is Arthur Zimmerman, sent a message to the Mexican government, saying that if they would join the war against the United States, the Germans after the war would give them Texas and New Mexico. Offering that deal with Mexico was the straw that broke the camel's back as far as Wilson was concerned. And shortly thereafter, the United States declared war on Germany when it was in World War I.
Now, guys, it always seems like in American history, it takes an event for America to finally like get involved, right? You know, Germany seeks an alliance against the U.S., asks Japan and Mexico to join her, and then of course, if Mexico would, they'll give Mexico Texas. Until when the land gets threatened, when things get threatened, where people want to take over us, that's when we get to war. We weren't really going to get into the war in World War II. What kind of woke us up was the Pearl Harbor. The famous saying, I think we just woke in the sleeping giant, right? And there has been a few people in the conspiracy circle that would say, well, how come Black Tom was never talked about? Pearl Harbor is the only one talking about. Well, one of the main difference between Black Tom and Pearl Harbor, let's get it straight. 4 or 5 people died in Black Tom. 2,403 people died during Pearl Harbor. And the famous saying from the Japan general saying, "We woken up the sleeping giant." The Pearl Harbor was sexier. So Black Tom was never had the popularity as a Pearl Harbor. So like when we learned about Black Tom in junior high, it was only like a little bit, when they're talking about the history of the German between World War I, World War II, Black Tom was barely talked about. I mean, it was talked about, but it wasn't talked about like Pearl Harbor. I mean, Pearl Harbor in history class, we went through the whole event for almost a week. Black Tom was only talked about because, remember, the people only remember usually the last war. So at the time, Bob and I growing up, most of the wars we heard about when we grew up, of course, is Vietnam, because Vietnam was the last war. And then, of course, World War II got mixed in there. So, and World War I has always been the war that's always been on the back burner. I mean, it is what it is, right? Now, young people, if you ask them, most young people will know the Iran, Iraq, the desert wars, if you want to call it. And people of this new generation don't even really know about Vietnam. It is what it is. It is. They made movies about Pearl Harbor. I don't know for sure, but I don't think they ever really made a movie, especially on a big budget, about Black Tom, which I think, they should, sneaking over here. I think there's a great storyline, but the truth of the matter is, if you're going to invest money into making a movie, unless you put Wonder Woman in it, a lot of people just don't really care about World War I. It is what it is. It is what it is. Oxide wrote Bank War. Well, it is a bank war in a lot of ways because
it is.
I had to finish the video. We got 2 minutes left in the video. We're going to play the rest of the video. And we're going to talk about the banking system. Bob's got a lot of information on that, because that is very important on why German felt like they had to do World War II, because we compressed them so hard from World War I, and Japan felt left out when they helped everybody to go to war with Germany. They felt like they were backstabbed by every other country. So that's why they decided to go against the U.S. They were pushed out like there were nobodies that helped us during the war. And of course, we had the big compression, but where everybody lost their jobs in the world. And the best way to get jobs back on is you create a war. You have a war because you got to have people get back to work to make bombs, weapons, tanks. I mean, World War II got us out of depression. It got us out. A war gets us out. And at the end of the day, it was technically all about the money, but we'll get to that because Bob is really good on that kind of information. So we got 2 minutes left of this, and then we'll start to slam it in and break into it. So I'm hoping you guys are enjoying this. And you guys, if you guys get a chance, do me a favor. I put the link of this in the chat somewhere. Go to this page, put in the comments, say, hey, thank you for giving us this information, because this is done by kids. And there's just kids doing Black Tom. I mean, if most kids will do stories, they're going to do it on Pearl Harbor. So to see this being done with kids is freaking awesome. And they should be appreciated. So go to their chat. Here, I'm gonna put their link one more time in here. Just leave a comment and tell them, hey, I saw your video on the Gypsy Road channel. I want to thank you guys very much for giving us this information. We learned a lot. Let these kids know that they're doing something great for us. So here we go.
A thing called the Zimmerman telegram. The Germans tried to get a combination of Mexico and Japan, and then to declare war on the United States with the southern border. They promised Mexico they would have back the area they lost in the Mexican War.
In this time,
yeah,
1960,
the war that they lost it to us.
The world was in the throes of World War I.
Some historians consider the explosions at Black Tom to be the first major terrorist attack on the United States by a foreign country.
Mainly was a factor in the United States becoming a world power by getting involved in World War I, as I should.
Also, Black Tom is the reason why Liberty State Park is here today, in 1976. When it was being rebuilt, they decided to make a nice park with its beautiful view of the Statue of Liberty.
In 1939, Germany was found guilty of sabotage at Black Tom and was ordered 15 million.
I want you guys to hear that for a second. In 1939, they were finally considered guilty. 1939, people. This happened in 1916. Germany wasn't even found guilty until 1939. And wait until you hear that they were making payments to America for this explosion all the way up to 1979, where we took the last payment for this explosion. Guys, get that to your head. They kept paying us up to 1979 for this explosion. So there's a lot here. So here we go.
Plus interest.
Plus interest. Yes.
Dollars in repairs. World War II delayed the payment, and Germany did not pay outstanding war claims related to the Black Tom explosion until 1979.
1979.
Because
1979.
the Statue of Liberty was severely damaged during the explosion. The government repaired the arm and replaced the torch. The original torch is on display in the community center.
Railroads were very common here. There were two that ran out of here, the Central Road of New Jersey Terminal and the Lehigh Valley Railroad. So rail cars, before regular cars and trucks became such big shipping, that's a lot of ways they got things back and forth. The original torch from the Statue of Liberty, that's not the original one, was damaged in the explosion.
Bob, I'm going to press play again, but actually 43 seconds, and then there's a question that was in the chat, and I'm going to have you tackle this question from Tom Murr after these last 40 seconds.
Well,
today, nothing remains of the munitions depot, but there is a plaque commemorating the explosion. Thank you for watching our documentary on this forgotten piece of Jersey City history.
It's not that it's forgotten. It's not that it's forgotten, people. It's just it's not a sexy thing because technically, I hate to say this, only 4 or 5 people died from it. If there was thousands who died of it, it'll probably be up there with Pearl Harbor. And some people saying this conspiracy is just as high as 9/11, which is ridiculous, flat out 100% ridiculous, and all that. But Tom Murr, I saw him write something, Bob, and I don't know the answer to this. Maybe you do. Isn't Germany still paying reparations to Israel?
Hell to the yes. Actually, it don't matter because the United States pays Israel money also, by the way. So we're giving them money and Germany's giving them money. Pretty much everyone's giving money to Israel. So I'm just going to throw that at you on that one. Yes, that would be correct, good sir. Everybody pays Israel, including the United States. I'm just letting you guys know that. The #1 nation on the fucking planet, and we pay them money, as well as Germany. Yes. Anything else?
No, Ox, I just wrote the torch was green. What was the weird lace lamp? I mean, we'll get into like Medella's side of it because that's why I wanted to. Tom said thanks, Bob. That's what I wanted to do the show on purpose because maybe Bob, you can help me to understand because maybe you know the conspiracies with this. I don't.
Oh yeah, I know.
You know what the conspiracies are? What's the thing where people are taking this, like almost putting it at the same level as Pearl Harbor and 9/11? Or is this, since this was the first one, is this superior to those events?
Not really. It's not. really at all. It's fucking nothing. It's a piece of shit. Nobody knows about it. Now, I don't trust the internet. I'm not an idiot. So I like books and literature and actual fucking people that went to school for stuff. So there's a Hoboken historical museum contact. Find out some people there. And they just got their exhibits for Black Tom in 2006. And I worked at a museum, so I know about getting exhibits kind of late because I got the Apollo exhibits around 2018, Apollo 11, all those other historical things about 2017 and 18, whatever. I'm like, that's kind of weird. We get it so late in the fucking since the time everything went up. But so they got their exhibits kind of rather late, around 2006, 2007. Black Tom exhibits started showing up, artifacts. That's fucking weird by itself. So anyway, you want me to move into my hypothesis?
Yeah, and I just want to say, Texas Danny, I'm not here to say when you guys first heard of this, because we hear things at different times, and I'm not here to poo-poo anybody's Mandela effects on this or not. I've learned a little bit, just a little bit about Black Tom. It was only like an hour class when they talk about Black Tom in junior high. So I heard about it in junior high, but it wasn't sexy enough to where, hey, I'm going to do a report on it. It just wasn't. So if you remember it, then more power to you. So guys in the chat, please don't think I'm jumping all over. I just want to bring in the history of Black Tom, and Bob's going to go into further because Bob did a lot of studying for this too. I
did some research. I had to contact some people because I want to know what the fuck this is all about. We'll start guys. I'm going to run it down real quick. I'm going to do the best I can, as fast as I can within the time we have here. I'm going to go real quick. First, let me talk about Liberty Island. A lot of people scratching their head on Liberty. Remember Ellis Island with the fucking Statue of Liberty? Okay, I'm there too. But Liberty Island, let's talk about that one because what you have is the three islands. The three islands is Black Tom, Ellis Island, and Liberty Island, which was called originally the Oyster Islands because they used to harvest oysters out there. And so going back to 1664, Richard Nichols, and Captain Robert Needham purchased the Black Tom Island. Now, this is Liberty Island. Hold on. Now, Black Tom Island is actually a garbage dump.
Yes.
It's garbage. It's a fucking refuge pile. It's a man-made fucking island. That's why it exploded the way it did. Kind of weird like that. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and start with 16. We're going to move on to 1667. It was sold to Isaac Bedloe. And then 1732 was sold. This is Liberty Island, where the Statue of Liberty is on. Adolf, Felipe, blah, 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 and some other people. In 1746, Archie Bald bought the island, Liberty Island, that is. He named it Love Island. So the Statue of Liberty is on what was called at one time Love Island. And then it turned to the original name too. It was passed on. He built a house on it. Moving forward, eventually they had bought New York had assumed or annexed the fucking island. And so they went ahead and built the Star Fort. Now, the Star Fort was built on the island. Everyone wants to talk about the Star Fort on that island. It's 11-pointed star on that island, 11-pointed star, and it was built in the 1800s. It was actually physically put into place and finished in 1811.
Bob,
1811.
There's a picture of the Statue of Liberty hand during the Black Tom explosion. So I'm just showing some of this during that time. So
So Liberty Island, this actually adds the Black Tom. So Liberty Island, the Star Fort was finished in 1811. If you look at 1 and 8, that's 9 plus basically 911. Or you can add it up, and it comes out to 11, the year, and then 11-pointed star. Anyway, moving forward, 1814, it was named after Wood, our cousin or uncle, whatever, a good friend or family member. 1876, Statue of Liberty was officially put on the base in 1876. It was put on the base, and in 1956, Liberty Island was made official, and blah blah blah. You guys know about fucking Statue of Liberty on Liberty Island and not Ellis Island. So you have the other two islands over there. If you look at, and a lot of people misremember the Statue of Liberty being on the wrong island because it's designed that way. And you should misremember or remember, or everybody should be getting it wrong because the Statue of Liberty is called Ellis. It's called the Ellis Island Foundation. So when you see the Statue of Liberty on Liberty Island, it's called Ellis Island Foundation. So that's why a lot of people keep saying, "Where's Liberty? Where was the Statue of Liberty?" It was on Ellis Island. Well, it's called the Ellis Island Foundation. So even if you remember that or you don't remember that, Ellis Island's in your head. So I'm just putting that. I'm debunking at the same time. I have a misremembering of it, but that's debunking it. So anyway, Black Tom was a unique situation because, Eric, as they put it there, Black Tom was basically was a storage area for anybody. I was in the United States Navy. We know about certain land spigots or whatever they use to store cargo. And because you had highly explosive materials, it was an ideal place to keep it because, again, at one time it was a garbage hump. It was a man-made island. And so just like Venice, it's the same kind of shit. It was a man-made island. So they had put all the cargo and everything explosive on that fucking island. I think recently we had something just blow up in the Middle East. I don't know how that worked out. But anyway, so on the island, they had all the ammunition, all the stuff. And it was a train, a privately owned train that went out there with train carts and had all these ammunition stuff. Also, it was used, Black Tom, the island, was used to dock barges, and these barges were cargo barges, so it also had ammunition. Now, this is where it gets fucking kind of weird. Now, United States decided to go ahead and not enter the war because the industries that be were selling ammunition to the entire war theater. So they were selling. The United States was selling ammunition to Germany, to France, to England, to everybody. So the United States sold fucking stuff to everybody. So when you guys talk about the Germans being there and did all the sabotage, well, we're gonna back that up a little bit. The port was filled with German ships already. The German ships were there to pick up ammunition for the war because it's an open market. They were already there. So the German bulk navy was already in New York. They were already around, and they were loading their ships up with ammunition. But then when the British found out, they got pissed off and they put up a blockade. So when they put a blockade around the area, the keeping the German ships from leaving. They're not going anywhere. They're not getting the ammunition, the Germans said. So the Americans are like, what the fuck? We're trying to do an open market thing here. But whatever happens, the other ships, they were trying to get in there, but they can't because it was filled with mostly German ships. Now, you've got an entire dock. I was in the Navy. Anybody was in the Navy know about fucking sailors? You had the dock filled with German sailors up and down because they were to be interned. They were told to go back to their ships, report back to the ships. They're not going anywhere. And they didn't have internment camps yet. But they did open up one internment camp on Ellis Island, where the most hard-hitting German fucking sailors that were pissed off they can't come home or pick up their war cargo were sent to. So Ellis Island was an internment for German rebellious sailors that didn't comply and go back to their ships on time. However, everybody was out partying. Everybody was drinking as far as Baltimore. So there were German soldiers all over New Jersey, all over New York, in Manhattan, having fucking drinks and having a fantastic time. Now, the war is in full swing. The Brits are out there blocking the fucking channels. They can't go nowhere. A lot of little shady shit's going back and forth. Now, they're talking about how this was an organized spy on spy kind of blow up. No. You had a lot of German Navy guys drunk, not doing anything. There were no bombs planted. There was nothing set up and nothing was organized. This was a domestic organized thing. They set fires, small fires. Now, who set the fires? Well, number one, there was, and this is where Eric's going to be in shock right now. There was a German migration before World War I in the early 1900s. So the majority of the dock security, the dock workers, the dock handlers were a combination of the Irish and German immigrants. That's right. German immigrants were working on those docks. So you have German sailors stuck there in port, and you've got German dock workers and German security guards. And this is when the war just started. So the war, the actual explosion was started by a couple of hand fires, a couple of throw down cigarettes, just people setting little fires everywhere. Kind of a rebellion because they were stuck in port for a long time and Americans won't let them go. So there was no German attack. It was a domestic terrorist attack. Understand, America's comprised of immigrants, and all of that area was nothing but working immigrants. So anybody that was an American born there and blah, 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 were living inland and living in other places. They weren't living on the dock areas. So it was not, and I repeat, not a German attack. It was a domestic attack by mostly, could be drunken German sailors. It could have been the security guards at Black Tom. The point is, they blew up all the ammunition, including the barges that was there, because nobody was getting the ammunition, and nobody even said that ammunition was any good. It come up from the 1800s. I mean, when they first started building cartridges, even they were single shot rifles at that time, guys. So this was old, crappy ass fucking ammo. Now, is this another? Am I adding a conspiracy on something that was weird? Yeah, because even as Eric put out with the video, at the end of this whole fucking shabagle, whatever you want to call it, the Russians wanted their money back from America. So American paid them bottom dollar back, $20 million, whatever. But at that time was a lot of money. The French wanted their money back from not getting ammo. Because the British owned the American banking system. They owned the American banking system. We didn't have to pay back fucking old England because England owned America anyways. It's just on paperwork or free. Who cares? So the British got a little bit screwed, but they didn't get that screwed because, as we said later on, after the war was over, the Americans went over and told Germany, since you lost the war, you owe us some money. You owe us some money. You owe us $50 million plus interest. And they just paid it back, just like they paid Israel back and everybody else. This poor bastard had to pay back not $50 million. The going thing now, what I got from the museum was $95 million. That's just what they owed back then for the original price. We're talking interest. So it's pretty much a couple of big billion. We'll go up to a couple billion. So they had to pay back. And it, of course, went to, anyway. A lot of fucking banks got paid. The banks got fed off garbage that blew up. It seems so convenient for this all to happen. So it was no attack on another country. This was a local domestic foodpaw bullshit scam, just like the 9/11 blow. It's all bullshit. You could do your own research. The information is there. You want to contact the museum in Hoboken Historical Museum, and they've got a lot of information for you guys. And only one book ever written on it. These kids are reading the same information I had, but I had to do my own information on it. It's got a lot of stuff. Also, the Statue of Liberty, we had a small minor damage of some bullshit. So those of you guys that remember, that scream, I remember the torch being different. You're probably my age. I'm 50. You don't understand because the torch in the 50s, well, the torch that you remember growing up as a kid is an alternative torch. It was a replacement torch. It was temporary. So the torch you remember is incorrect. The torch that's on it now is the original torch that was on it, but was not on it in the 80s. It was not on it in the 80s. It was on it before the 80s. They took it off in the 80s to do repairs, and they put back anyway. So the torch you see now was the original torch, and the torch you guys remember, which is a Mandela effect, you call it, is not the torch it was there. It was a different torch. It was a torch they had in the 80s. But anyway, replacement torch temporarily. Yeah.
The reason we're doing this show today, like Carla, you wrote right there, I have to admit, I only heard of Black Tom around 7-8 months ago. Had never heard of it before because it wasn't a popular. Listen, when they talked about it in school, well, yes, because when they talked about it in school, it was only like 10 minutes, and then basically that was it about an explosion that supposedly helped us get into the war. So that was about as far as Black Tom was really talked about. And
they didn't call it Black Tom, guys. Now, Black Tom is what we're calling it now because people wrote some books and have some literature on it, and they've labeled it Black Tom because of the island.
You mean hold on, like Fiona Broom and the name Mandela effect? It was the name got popular because of a book, Black Tom from a book. Ooh.
It was called. The area where all the ammunition was it called Black Tom, people. And the time that it had happened, it was not called Black Tom. That's why you never heard of it. It's called the Jersey Terminal. Now, I know not what you guys think on the shore of the Jersey Terminal. It was called the Jersey Terminal because that's what it was labeled, because it was a storage facility for ammunition. It was called the Jersey Terminal. That was the language it was used. That was on the paperwork. When you look down, it didn't say Black Tom. It said your supplies is at the Jersey Terminal. So your Jersey Terminal was the appropriate name, not Black Tom. That was a label in a book they put out later because of the garbage island they made, and that's what they called it. Again, I've never heard of it.
I think it's kind of funny. They will make that saying Black Tom racist soon. You watch.
It does sound racist. Again, everybody, I'm not. It is a continuity error for me. Absolutely, yes. For those of you that want to go that direction, it is. I've never heard about it in school. I've never heard about it discussed. But when I tried to get information on it, the information was limited. In fact, so limited, I couldn't find it in a book. Now, I'm not trusting the internet. I don't trust shit. Everything is fucking fake on the web. I had to get a hold of the museum and talk to somebody. I work at the Museum of Flight, blah, 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 in my credentials. Can you tell me about Black Tom? We just started getting the artifacts around 2006. Why is it you're getting artifacts in 2006 when this happened in was it 1916 or whatever? Why now are you getting the artifacts? It's the same story that I got when I tell people that in the Museum of Flight, we got the Apollo exhibits in 2017 and 18. Where the fuck have they been? We just rewrote history in the museum.
Right. Yeah, you're right. They built the whole space shuttle section across from the museum. Just finally decided to build it.
And now we had 5-year schedules. I knew what was going to be built. Everybody in the museum knew it was going to be built 5 years in advance. So we're all prepared 5 years in advance for all the stuff we need to do until then. These changes came within the year. So we removed all the Operation Paperclip section in just a few weeks. Why? It wasn't scheduled. And we're moving in Apollo exhibits in just a few weeks, and we have a tight schedule. Why? This was not scheduled in the 5-year plan. Everything happened fast, almost to create an illusion, a delusion of false fucking history. By removing some and adding some, and the internet is packed with fake shit, fake newspapers, fake articles, fake microphone. But we got microphone pictures of it. I got books that has nothing about Black Tom in it. I had to do this research from actual historians that live in the area with the museum that they have. Again, it is a continuity error for me. I don't use the other word. However, there's a lot of it's a lot of things that are not adding up.
Would it be safe to say? I'm not saying this to say this, but would it be safe to say that maybe because of the word Black Tom, and I'm not. Somebody mentioned the word racist, but of course we're not using it as a racist thing. But you think people are using the word Black Tom now as clickbait?
It is a pattern. It is another pattern word. It's another word. Again, it's a pattern. I'm seeing it consistently come up with names that have a connotation for a direction of where they want you to go, or create a fight, or create rape, or they're creating these things. So this thing, like, again, let's go back just 2 seconds to Ellis Island. Not Ellis Island. Let's go to Liberty Island. Now, Liberty Island, the Star Fort, again.
If you want me to show Bob, if you want me to show any images of these Statue of Liberties, just let me know.
Yeah. Well, hold on 1 second. So, to talk about it now, this is weird to me, guys. This is really weird to me. Oh, 1 second. Where you at? Okay, here it is again. Okay. So let's play a game again, Eric. We'll just go back to somebody had discovered that Sean Connery died. Was it 2020, 31st of October? And when you do all the math for it, it comes out to 007. Weird, right? But
that was found by Tom Murr. Give him credit for that. Tom Murr find that out.
So the Star Fort, which has 11 points, was built on Liberty Island in 1811. Well, it's kind of like it comes out to 11, or it comes out to 9/11. Or 11. It's just a weird fucking overlap. These dates are coming up again. World War I. You had Duke Ferdinand shot by one person in my time. Now by 5 guys chased him around, and one guy got him finally. And on the end of his license plate tells you the end date of World War I. So you got to stop for a second and say, I'm not buying this shit anymore. So I'm encouraging people to take a look at these things and try to find all the weird stuff. Again, the reason why people don't remember the Statue of Liberty being on Ellis Island, or they do remember it on Ellis Island, is because the way they changed the name. There's Ellis Island incorporates Liberty Island and Ellis Island. Some people say I remember it on Ellis Island. Some people say it's always been on Liberty Island. Well, when you have the name of the whole thing called Ellis Island Foundation, if you ask, where's the Statue of Liberty? Well, it's with the Ellis Island Foundation. So you're automatically going to think Ellis Island. To just put it now, it's a continuity error for me too. I get it, but the way they set it up is for you to always think it's on the other island, or it's always been there. Again, the crown open. See the crown open, torch close. So the crown has been open for a long time, and people that remember going to the torch was probably going to the crown. Just to put a debunk on that one, the torch was replaced in 1985. The torch was replaced in 1985. Placed in a museum in Liberty, or whatever, Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island. Anyway, so even the torch that you guys might remember might be the other torch. So you got 2 torches in your head. Actually, 2 torches in your head because they replaced it and then swapped it back again.
I got to make a correction. It was 1986. The Statue of Liberty's torch lights the way to freedom, showing us the path of liberty. Even the statue's official name represents her most symbol, liberty, enlightening the world. The statue current replacement torch, added in 1986, is a copper flame covered in 24-karat gold. Just wanted to bring that in.
Absolutely, that's exactly it. My assessment of Jersey Terminal is that it's a little suspect on all accounts. I see these pictures of blowing up and stuff. In the pictures, it shows people in action. At the time, they had still photographs, still photography. It takes a little time. You stand there in front of a camera like this. You have to wait for a couple of seconds before it snaps a shot. You got people moving. Don't have that kind of photography back at that time. So that tells me that the pictures are suspect. The newspapers are suspect. The dates are suspect. The whole fucking thing is suspect. I ain't buying it. It is bullshit. I don't know if it's a living Matrix universe that maneuvered and moved shit into weird directions, or see, fire, guys. Fire is you can't get. It's a perfect still shot of fire. Fire is moving. You had still shot photography. So how you got perfect fire and people moving and shoveling and doing motion in the pictures? Impossible. It's impossible. Everything I see is suspect. Everything gives me a flag. Everything. The story gives me a flag. The history gives me a flag. The the barges. Eric, here's the one I want to tell you. Now this is between Eric and I, guys. Eric's going to be in shock for a second. Now, Eric,
Yeah.
I did some research. This is going to shock you, man. You ready for this? Are you sitting down? You are sitting down. No,
Yeah,
Eric,
I am sitting down.
Okay.
Somebody in the chat put a link to this picture of Garbage Pail Kids and all that. So I thought that was cute. That was awesome.
Yeah, because again, guys, I have a misremembering of it, but I remember, the other hand. So the torch was in the left hand, because if you're right-handed, you hold a book in your right hand. So it makes, anyway. So the Garbage Pail Kid was holding the garbage in the left hand, which is where the torch was. In my memory, you see right there. Well, it's mixed up. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
Anyway. So, Eric, you ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready.
So doing our research, I had got sidetracked for a little bit, and I had some people in England help me out and give me a long stare, and they said, dude, did you just realize something? I said, oh my God, I think you're right. Eric and I, we researched our mother's history with the Evans family leading back to lineage of kingship. We studied our father's side, which changed, and our mother's side has changed. Our father's side, the Wood family. But Eric, Strozer. Now, Dad's mom our grandma's name was Strozer. You know that, remember that?
Yep.
Okay, did you also know that I'm doing research on the migration during our grandma's time coming over? She was their family, the German family, came through New York. I don't know if you knew that. The Strozers.
No, they did.
Yeah, they came through New York and a certain date migration pattern. In fact, Grammy, that we don't know about because she died young after having the fifth kid with Grandpa, died young. And did you know she was an Ashkenazi Jew?
No.
You're Jewish.
This is the first I'm hearing it.
Her grandmother's maiden name was Strozer. And if I follow the Strozer line, apparently you and I are Jewish. Well, our grandma was Jewish. She was Ashkenazi.
And there's nothing wrong with that at all.
No. So grandma was Ashkenazi Jew, and they were also in that area, and they migrated there, and they also worked in the same area. That's what I found out. In fact, Eric, they worked with the banking systems. Obviously, worked with the banking systems. And our grandfather, remember, the Wood family, we had a bank in Oklahoma,
Woodtown, the Woodtown.
Yeah, and our grandfather was at a private. He taught at a private school. He was a principal at a private school because he was an engineer, and he actually went back to work for the government again. He ended up getting married to a student. That student's last name was Strozer. She was Jewish. She was Ashkenazi, which came through that same area, and I didn't know that. I was like, oh my God, I just found out we're Jewish. Well, not really. We're pagan, but our grandma was Jewish. First, right there. And family came through the same area, the Strozers. So I was like, oh, wait till Eric finds out. And Grammy that we never met was Jewish. The whole family was. That's how they met him through the banking system, because our grandfather was great grandfather was a banker. That's how they arranged their marriage. So I didn't know if you knew that. And this all goes back through the Black Tom area and same time frame, the same migration with the banking systems and the blowing up the fucking thing. And then don't forget that our great grandfather's bank went under during the Great Depression.
Yes. What happened? Yeah. That's we were at one time. Technically, the family was rich. At one time, they were rich.
Yeah.
Our great grandfather loaned money to farmers to stay alive, to keep their crops going during the Depression. And then when the Depression hit, nobody could pay back the bank.
Yeah.
So our great grandfather loaned money where technically he shouldn't have, but he had a heart. He wanted to protect the town, get people working and stuff. So he loaned money out, and of course, nobody could pay him back, and the banks never bailed his bank out. So technically,
they just bailed him out.
Lost everything. We could have been technically, I don't know, but we could have been a Donald Trump kind of family. We don't know.
Yeah. No. Type now. Go ahead. We're gonna. It goes along with this whole Black Tom scenario thing with the big explosion of all the ammunition.
I'm going to show it, but I do want to show on Amazon.com.
Yeah.
Bob's talking about the book. The Black Tom book is right there. The Black Tom book was written by a guy named Ron Simple. The book came out October 30th, 2015. So, like Bob is saying, the name Black Tom wasn't a popular title until this person created the book.
Made it a popular title, yeah.
Her Morning Shadow, but like Bob's saying, the name
Jersey Terminal.
Yeah,
it was called
the I just wanted to show that. So okay, so what do you want me to show?
Attached to the island. Yeah. So look up the Great Depression.
Hold on. Walk the Plank wrote, the German government never admitted to starting the fires on Black Tom Island. The Americans thought it was an accident caused by the dock workers. Hence, no one was taught that was intentional. Now, remember, Walk the Plank. Remember, people, I said during that video that it wasn't even recognized. It was done by the Germany until 1939. The incident has happened 1916. So how many years that goes by? 39, 26, 36. It wasn't until 23 years later that Germany admit they had something to do with it until they had to start paying us back. Now think about that. People, so whoever wrote this was right on the money because it wasn't until 1939.
Because it could have been, and it is plausible 100% that it was an accident. There was no German attack. There was no. These people worked and lived there in the United States. They didn't want to blow. That's their job. So they just lost their job. That whole thing blew up. These are German immigrants working on the docks. These are Irish immigrants. These are people they have to pay for. So they've lost their houses. They lost their everything for what, a war? I highly doubt they intentionally blew anything up. I think it was. Think you walked the plank. I think it was if I were to be a betting man, it was an accident. Somebody was smoking a cigarette out there at the Jersey terminal and lit something on fire because they described it as not burning, but something was on fire. It was a couple of fires.
I'm just curious. I wonder if he's talking about somebody else, something in the chat, because he wrote, it says Alice Island. I'm curious. Is from the.
Does it say Alice Island or Ellis Island? It's Ellis Island.
Or I wonder if he's talking about the garbage pail, because he's the one that gave me the link for the garbage pail kids.
Well, maybe that one says Alice Island, but I think it's Ellis Island. I don't think it's changed. I haven't seen anything change in the research. But look up the Great Depression.
Okay.
I'm going to line up some dates here. This has got one of them smells to it. Like it reminds me of the Titanic. You know how everybody thinks that the Titanic was swapped out with another boat and sunk intentionally? One of these intentional things that happened for money, it's got that stink on it. Now, it could be that, or as Walk the Plank said, it could be as simple as somebody's smoking a cigarette, throwing it down by some. The boat. Okay, so what set everything off? Let's just look at the loading. Now, where was it? Hold on. One second.
Hold on. I'm working on pulling up a good one. Hold on. I am getting it up.
In the barge. Wait, hold on. It's stored. Okay, alongside the barge alongside was loaded with 50 tons of TNT and 407 cases of detonating fuses. The barge, it was docked there, was loaded again with 50 tons of TNT and 407 cases of detonation fuses. So, you know, see the what was it called? The Johnsup barge, 17, the Johnsup barge number 17. That was the name of the barge that blew up, that set everything else off. So they shouldn't have had that fucking thing.
I actually pulled up here, Bob, the list of recessions in the United States. So it kind of
how many we got? We had one. Big one. We had one in the 80s, 70s.
There's Panic of 17. I mean, it breaks down all different kind of recessions that we have had since the 1700s.
1700s recession.
Yeah, like Panic of 1785. The Panic of 1785, which lasted until 1788, ended the business boom that followed the American Revolution. That cause of crisis lay in overexpansion and debts occurred after the victory of Yorktown. So this breaks down like every depression, recession. Now the one in the 40s, late 1839, late 1843 recession, 4 years. This was one of the largest and deepest depression of the 19th century. It was the period pronounced deflation and a massive default on debt. The Cleveland Trust Company Index showed that the economy spent 68 months below its trend and only 9 months above it.
What year was that?
That was between the late 1839 to 1843. Then, in 1845 to 1846, the recession was mild enough that it had only been a slowdown in the growth cycle. One theory holds that this world have been a recession, except the United States began to gear up for the Mexican-American War, which began in April 25th, 1846. So basically, when the recession, the big one hit, and then looks like we're about to hit another recession, that's when the Mexican-American War was technically recreated, because war creates jobs for people and I hate to say it what keeps the economy going.
So when was the next recession? In the 1900s? Was it, the coming up? Keep going.
And no, it's amazing how many years. Here we go. Now you have one recession, 1937 to 38. Of course, that was a minor one. But then you had recession of 1945. The decline
before that, what was the one before that? What was before that? Keep going back.
Recession of 1937 to 1938. It says here, the recession of 1937 is only considered minor when compared to the Great Depression. But otherwise, the worst recession of the 20th century. 3 explanations are offered as cause for the recession. The tight fiscal policy resulting from an attempt to balance the budget after New Deal spending, the tight monetary policy of the Federal Reserves, and the declining profits of business leading to a reduction of business investment.
Federal Reserves. There's the fucking magic word right there. And if you back it up, this explosion happened in 2000, or was it 1916?
Now, Bob, this is what it says about the Great Depression. Now, right here, the Great Depression, August 1929 to 1933. It says here, in the Great Depression, a banking panic and a collapse in the money supply took place in the United States that was separated by international commitment to the gold standard. Extensive new tariffs and other factors contributed to an extremely deep depression. GDP, industrial productions, employment, and prices fell dramatically. A small economic expansion within the depression began in 1933 with gold inflow expanding the money supply and improving expectations. The expansion would end in 1937. The ultimate recovery, which occurred with the start of World War II in 1940, was credited to monetary policy and monetary expansions.
Right. This has got stank written all over it. This Jersey terminal explosion's got stank all over it. right into the next war, the Depression, and then, 1933, really? Okay,
Well,
got you on
let's
that
look here.
one.
Let's look here. The recession. Okay, there's a depression in 1920, 21. Then before that, there was a recession in 1913, 1914. But in the middle of 1913, 1914, and 1920, 21, post-war recession. Of course, we know Black Tom was supposed to happen in 1916. Let's see if it says anything here that's interesting to you. In the post-war recession, severe hyperinflation in Europe took place over productions in North America. This was a brief but very sharp recession that was caused by the end of wartime production, along with the influx of labor from returning troops. This turn caused high unemployment. So basically, after the war, after World War I, when soldiers come back, there was more unemployment because there was no jobs for these people when they came back.
Yeah, well, what they did was they made marijuana illegal, and then because while the American soldiers were at war, they had immigrants from Mexico doing the American jobs, but they gotta fire them. They gotta fire them on a mass scale. So the best way to fire Mexicans on a mass scale is to make marijuana illegal. So it was an immediate prison offense. So they were all running to be arrested to go to prison. In fact, they filled the prison systems and became the secondary largest slave labor force on the fucking planet. But then the American soldiers got their jobs back because all the Mexicans were in prison working for cheaper because of the legal marijuana sale. So anyway, that fixed that problem. We keep moving forward with all the other recessions.
I mean, there's a lot of recessions. I mean, of course, we know about the minor one in 1980, where under Carter we were hitting a recession, and that's what got Ronald Reagan in, which at that time it was fixed. And then, of course, we had an early recession in 2000, which was under George Bush's father.
Yeah,
because he decided to start raising taxes again. Of course, he got lost. And then of course, that was taken over by Bill Clinton. And then, of course, under Bill Clinton, and then the recession was starting to happen slowly. And of course, when George Bush came in, George Bush.
You guys see the patterns? Anybody see patterns out there? I see Ronald Reagan going into office when there was a small recession after Carter, and everybody was unemployed. And so what he did was and his wife was the big advocate, called the War on Drugs. And so when the War on Drugs came about, pretty much they did the same recycle, which is a brilliant thing to do, and they put everybody back in prison again. Once they put everybody in prison for drugs, they went ahead and opened up the marketplace for people to get jobs. And so we just did it all over again. 19 equals 17. There you go.
Yeah.
You can see the patterns in this place. And this comic book, it's not hard to read these and see the pattern. You can see who the bad guys are and who this place is a joke. It's hilarious. I love it sometimes. It's like a puzzle comic book. I love this place.
Technically, you could take the 1916 also, Carla. If you take the 1 and the 9, you minus it, you get an 8. 8 minus 1, then you got a 7. Then you take that 7 and you plus it with 6, you got a 13.
God,
so you can actually equal 1916 into a 13 also.
I just been rolling 17s a lot. I've been seeing 7. That's just me. In fact, don't jump on that because I'm probably 99.99% wrong on that.
So
I'm only saying the stupidest thing.
So if I'm hearing you right.
Yeah.
Oh, are you there? Oh, hold on. What the hell just happened? Oh, never mind. I hit a wrong X. So if I kind of hear you right, the original Black Tom was not called Black Tom until 2015 when he wrote a book.
Yeah.
It was called The Jersey Thing. So the Jersey Thing, and since the name wasn't sexy, nobody really kind of technically. I'm just using like common sense in a way now.
Yeah.
So
like another one of these pattern terms.
Well, there's a pattern, right? Because the Mandela effect belief system has always been there, but the name for it didn't get popular until somebody claimed the coin Mandela effect. So now everybody kind of thinks that Mandela effect started in 2009. But Modelfix has always been there. It's just the name wasn't popular until somebody named it that. Now you think of the Jersey Terminal. Jersey Terminal's always been there. That story's always been there. It's just until somebody called it Black Tom, and now the name is sexy. And now people take the word Black Tom kind of like a Mandela effect in a lot of ways. I'm not saying we're using it for clickbait, but I am saying the name is used for clickbait. I don't know how to say it because the war, it's always been there. It's just people never care to look for. And it's not sexy like the bombing, the Japan when they bombed Pearl Harbor, because like I said, the difference between that and Black Tom or Jersey Terminal is technically Jersey Terminal or Black Tom, only 4 people died. According to the records of the bombing in Pearl Harbor, 2,403 people died. So of course, the war of Pearl Harbor is going to be more popular than a little thing of Black Tom. I wasn't little back then, but compared to the Pearl Harbor when we had communication being built, you had telephones, you had SOS, and of course the famous Japan saying, we just woken up the sleeping giant. There wasn't that saying with Black Tom.
Well, there's also another twist theory. I have another twist theory, guys. This is me.
Bring it on.
Okay. So you've got the rules of engagement. I know everyone's going to be off on this one, but there's the rules of engagement. Okay, on Ellis Island around 2016, because all of the German ships were being held into port, so everyone's ordered back to their ships. I was Navy. I know how it works. So there was an internment camp on Ellis Island. There was an internment camp with German military guys on Ellis Island. Now, they're legally interned. They're in an internment camp. In times of war, regardless if the United States is involved in the war or not, they are in an internment camp, which they gives them privileges of somebody it's in a prison in wartime. The Geneva Convention. So the Geneva Convention, obviously, there's some things much later on it applied to this, but also according to Geneva Convention, as everybody knows, every prisoner, like the movie The Great Escape, you have the right to escape. You have the right to escape. Now, if you're a German soldier or sailor or whatever the hell you were, and you're in an internment camp in Ellis Island, then you have your right in times of war to legally escape. So if they wanted to escape and they managed to escape, and I imagine it wasn't too hard to get out of that fucking internment camp, and they made their way to the Black Tom, the island called Black Tom, the Jersey Terminal's right over there. They set a couple of fires and blow that fucker up. They can get the hell out of Dodge. They can escape. That's a great distraction. And so, because they had set a fire or whatever, the Germans don't have to pay because it was their right in the times of war to escape. So they're not responsible for what they got the right to do as signed by the Geneva Convention. I'm just saying. So they weren't obliged. Germany was not obliged to pay the money. There's another argument there, another flip, because everybody wanted their money. And Germany was like being accused of sending spies over to have all this done as a direct attack. So they're responsible for the money. Now, let me say this one time, guys, and this is what I found out from a museum. Okay, I'm going to say it again. You guys contact them yourself. We're going to say it again. The Hokum Historical Museum. Now, Germany did not, Eric, let me say this again. Here's the fact. Germany did not pay the United States back that money, that $95 million, or with interest, which is probably fucking pretty high. They did not pay that. And you're saying, Bob, what are you talking about? It's in the book. Now, Bob, I've looked online, everything. There was a clause to that. Germans did not pay that. The Americans took it from the bank accounts because the Federal Reserve, which is a British banking system, has all the money from handle everybody international. international banking systems, withheld so-called $95 million from them. You know how you get a bill, Eric, and they take it from your paycheck? That's what they did to Germany. They took it. They didn't ask for it. Germany didn't give it to them. This is a fact, Jack, that they took it from the banking system, held it. They took it from Germany. All that money. They took it from them. They didn't give them anything. And Germans were still fighting it, even though they lost in court, said, we didn't do anything in the war. We have no idea what you're talking about. They even had the Geneva Convention thing. If a soldier did it, he had every right to do it. It's part of the package. He can blow anything up he wants to get free. Big battle over the money.
These big
there
countries.
was a huge battle. Eric, remember, like you said, they made them pay all the way, 1980? What was it when they finally paid?
1979 was considered the last payment because of Black Tom. 1979.
Okay, they made them pay in 1979 for 2016.
Yeah.
There was something else going on. And that wasn't that money. It was interest compound. So it was a shitload of money. There was something somewhere.
Well, remember, Germany still had to pay for all the wars they caused. So it's hard to say, breaking down on how much money they owe.
I feel bad for them.
Hey guys, I'm not going to play this video. I'm not going to play this video. Hold on. That's us. You guys should play us. But I'm gonna put this video. Where is it? Right here. I'm not gonna play this video, but there's this guy called. He's called. Here, I'm sorry. I'm putting the link in the chat. He's called. He's called the History Guy, and he did the 1916 Black Tom explosion. This guy does a really great job breaking down the Black Tom. Better video. I can't play this video, but he does a really good job. So if you guys want to hear even more information from a different point of view of a person, this is a good video. I recommend you guys checking it out. He does a great job on explaining the history part of Black Tom with all the payments up to 1979. So I just want to give this page a shout out. You guys should check it out. Like I said, like Bob's saying, is when you hear about Black Tom, research for different sites everywhere. Like here's one. Now this is history. Well, this one is history stories, and and this is in 1916. German terrorists launched an attack on American soil. So there's different sides about this. So there's good history on this.
This was not a word used. I wish if there's MA in England would probably confer if he was here to say terrorist was not a word used in that time. So okay,
they didn't. It was. Remember, the United States was still considered a very new country. So it's. I know. The terrorist is a sexy word to use. It sells books. Yeah. It sells articles. Terrorist. I mean, think about it, Bob. The guy who wrote the book, Black Tom.
Yeah.
If he would have wrote the book and call it New Jersey Terminal. Jersey Terminal does not sound as good as Black Tom.
It's a little bit, as somebody put in the sidebar, it is a little bit. It sounds it has a taste of racism to it.
Well, when other channels say, "Have you ever heard of Black Tom?" Well, Black Tom wasn't even a name term until 2015. It was the Jersey Terminal. So I mean,
explosion.
So
the Jersey Terminal explosion.
I mean, I'm going to come out and say the name is being used now for basic clickbait. I mean, that's what it is.
It's being exploited. Number one, it's a derogatory. It's just used as another pattern. A Bruce Jenner running for fucking office in California kind of way. If you guys know what I'm talking about, especially names like that.
And I think when people try to relate Black Tom into a Mandela effect, I think there's Mandela effects with like the Statue of Liberty getting damaged. That's where your Mandela effects are. The Statue of Liberty, like Wood Fort, that fort. But saying that this story just appeared, it didn't get popularity until the book was written with the name Black Tom. That's when the popularity came. But the Mandela effects of it is more into the Statue of Liberties and stuff. And maybe it's a good thing that people didn't even hear the word Black Tom until 2050, because now when they research it, it kind of leads them into the Statue of Liberty, the weird changes of the Statue of Liberty. So maybe it's a good thing. You know what I mean, Bob? It kind of like, yeah, the story changed. The story name changed. Another topic.
Use your discernment. Do your own research. Don't buy it. Just because you do your own research, guys, doesn't mean you have to accept it. That means you could use it as a control thing. But at least I got to find out about our grandma. That was kind of fucking cool. I love the fact that in this comic book we can find a lot of our relatives now. Saboteurs. There you go. That's another brilliant word. Saboteurs. Yes, that would use that. That would be an older name for it. Not terrorist. That's a little. Yeah, I am a Sagittarian, so again, guys, I'm doing this from a Sagittarian point of view. Local people have their own point of views. I don't know.
And the number one reason why I decided to do a show about Black Tom is not to disapprove anybody's. It's just there's too many people out there that are saying things about Black Tom, like not saying conspiracy and all that, and they don't even know the history of Black Tom. And I wanted people to hear the history. So then once now you know the history of what's put in front of you, that makes it easier for you to try to come up with your own idea of Black Tom. Knowing the history first. Learn the history first before you jump on other people's bandwagons. Because it's just like when people say, Eric, you should vote for Joe Biden, right? So we said, you got to vote for Joe Biden. Well, what does he stand for? I don't know. He's in the Democratic Party. Okay, so what? He's in the Democratic Party. What does he stand for? What is he backing? And then it's like nobody knows. They just want to back something just because that's the popularity thing. Okay, great. Listen, I vote for information. I vote for knowledge. I'm not going to vote for something or listen to something just because everybody else is. I want to know about it. Hold on. Here we go. Somebody wrote this. Here we go. Here's the correction. This is great. I like corrections. The first book written about Black Tom was in 2006. That's perfect. The 2006. The memorial plaque was put there in the last 10 years. Up recently, the Americans thought it was an accident and they were liable. Yeah. So that's awesome. That's what it is. I mean, that's information. Listen, I love it when people who watch the show are on the side researching everything on the side and they tribute to the show. We're all sharing on the show. So the word Black Tom appeared in 2006. Kind of like the Mandela effect word appeared in 2009. Then the rest is history, right? Now
again, no artifacts even appeared.
Everybody runs with it.
They didn't have any artifacts until around 2006. When the guy wrote the book, he had to go to the museum to get the information. And they were like,
hold on, there's a great question for Dr. Wu. There's a great question here for Dr. Wu. Hey, Dr. Wu, you got a beer I can borrow?
Yeah, I got lots of beer. Shit, I got Coors Light. I'm gonna have some after the show.
Here we go. And this is true. This is true. Chocolate and Cheese wrote, people are too lazy to do their own research. You are 200% correct. People are too lazy to do their own research. And they're too easy to jump on other people's bandwagons without even knowing any knowledge of it. Listen, before we do a show, I do my best to put the links up, all 3 shows during the week before the show starts. And I try to send a newsletter out with articles that are based on what the show is going to be about. So I'm giving everybody a chance to know what we're going to be talking about And if they want to start researching, they can before the show even starts. That's called progress. That's called tributing to the show, right?
Can one of my roommates bring me a beer? One of my roommates bring me a beer.
Criminal, I just want to say that thank you for coming on Wednesday. That was a kick-ass show. I love how we can all have a discussion. And, we might not all agree exactly on our own beliefs, but you came on. It was awesome. We had a great conversation. And that's how a discussion should be done. Did we agree on everything? No. Did somebody yell at somebody? No. We had a great time, great conversation. And that's why we're doing this discussion today. Now, guys, you guys have any questions in the chat? Everybody in the chat, before it's 12:41. We got like 19 minutes left. So is there any questions? Yeah, I like that, Tom. Study up a bit pre-show. Great thinking. Eric, now, if some of you are here for the first time, what is Eric talking about? I'm just going to say, if you guys go to my website, right? If you go to my website, gypsyroad.live, if you sign up, free sign up, you'll be on the newsletter. What this newsletter is, all my shows I do for the week is on both channels. All my shows, and the topic is there, and I try to put an article within that newsletter so you get an idea on what the show is going to be about. Then hey, Bob and Eric on Monday, they're going to be talking about, I don't know, Jack took a shit in the woods. I'm going to study up on why did Jack take a shit in the woods. And then you come to the show on Monday. Hey, I found out why Jack took a shit in the woods. It's because there was a terrorist from Germany who was attacking the land, so he had to take a shit, and his toilet blew up. So he went in the woods, took a shit. That's why we do it.
Damn right.
You guys have any questions for Bob or anybody?
Yeah.
The Earth is flat.
Questions?
Yeah.
I'll try to look at my research.
Yeah, Robert, thumbs up, way up. Okay, thank you for that. I love that.
That's cool.
You guys, anybody want to shoot a question for Bob and I? Do it real quick. Do it now. If you don't have a question, that's cool. But if you guys have a question, we're open right now with you guys from the chat.
Yeah, it's Friday. Yeah, it's a hell of a. That was a great subject, though. I learned a lot from it.
There's a lot of great subjects. Like the part that I learned, Bob, that I knew about the story of Black Tom. Of course, I'm not a kindergartner graduate.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that technically, according to the paperwork, well, they're being told to us that Germany was still paying up to 1979 for the last payment for something that happened in 1916. That was awesome information. I didn't know about that.
We're still paying Israel $1 million. Well, the public knows about just $1 million a year for what? I don't fucking know, but it's mostly to take prisoners there because we can't torture them.
Here we go. This question here is from Tom Murr. Has Bob got any fairy stories being in the UK?
Fairies.
Have you got any fairy stories from being in the UK?
No, not in England. However, I did see some fairies up in Ireland. I did see some fairies in Ireland. That place is magical as fuck. You guys think I'm joking? Oh, that's like, it reminds me of Bali. Like, if I were to put on a spiritual thing, Ireland and Bali are about the same. Yeah.
I really appreciate this. From Carla wrote, you give the best homework subjects.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Listen, let's be honest. Come on. We love talking Medellas and paranormal and stuff, but you got to talk about so many things, make it fresh. Now, I am going to be trying something a little different. Now, here's a homework assignment for everybody for Monday. Last Monday, we did a show called Mandela Effect Back to the Future Rewatch. I'm not going to make the whole show about this next topic on Monday, but if you guys want to do a little homework, Monday is going to be Mandela Effect Forrest Gump Rewatch.
Oh, shit.
So if you guys have a chance, I want to break down Forrest Gump, because Forrest Gump has a lot of, according to Mandela effects, there's a lot of Mandela effect changes. There's a lot of codes messaging about because remember, Forrest Gump is going out through the history. So I'm calling
That's
it
a good-
Mandela effect Forrest Gump rewatch. So that's your little homework. I want you guys to watch Forrest Gump, and it doesn't have to be about Mandela
Yeah.
effect. Any codes in there. Let's talk about it because it is interesting how they made the movie where Forrest Gump kind of created a lot of the happy face. Why are they saying he created the happy face?
Oh,
Why did he
yeah.
start running? Is it to sell shoes? So we're going to be talking about conspiracies, all that with the
Oh,
movie
yeah.
Forrest Gump. So there's a little pre-homework on Forrest Gump for Monday, and then of
Yeah.
course this weekend I'll put what the rest of the week's going to be about. So make sure you subscribe to my channel, Forrest Gump channel.
Yeah.
Gypsy Road
I'm gonna
Live.
look at the uniforms. I'm gonna look at the uniforms. I am going to. I
And-
worked at Fort Lewis Historical
There you
Museum.
go. There you go. Bob is going to take the part of the uniforms
Oh,
of the
yeah.
show. Some of you might watch it and find something else that you want to tribute to the show about Forrest Gump. So, guys, do a rewatch. Do a rewatch. Listen to the music. Hey, you might be a music change. Remember, Elvis Presley did a dance in the movie. Maybe
That's
there's a
right.
change in the dance. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm gonna see the uniform, man. I'm gonna see how they wear the flag, how the ensign looks on the uniform, how the pockets look.
What is this, homework? Gypsy Road, you're breaking in my heart.
You don't have to do homework. Just watch the movie. Just have a good time with it.
Life is like a box of toffee.
Happy. Isn't it?
Like, ha ha ha. Subscribe to the best show. Well, if you subscribe to me, only thing my saying, Joey, is subscribe to us. Subscribe to the most open-minded community out there. We are open-minded to everybody's opinions. There is no wrong opinion. There isn't. You're just sometimes you might be misjudged by other people.
Yeah.
You might be misjudged. Let's just say that.
I'm gonna push you into a volcano, pendejo. I'm gonna push you in.
To me, he was Forrest, not Forrest. See, there we go. Information. We could all bring it up. We could all bring up on it.
Started.
That's why we're doing the homework now. I'm giving you guys a pre-homework assignment. Rewatch Forrest Gump, and we'll break that shit down.
Eric, did you bring a magnet? You got my email?
I don't have any magnets at the house.
Shit, man.
I don't have any magnets. I saw that email.
No magnets. You got a fridge upstairs, and you gotta have a magnet.
Hold on. I'll go grab one. There is one on the fridge.
Yeah. Okay. So what Eric's gonna do? A shout out to Dan from Scarab Performance, who put out kind of an hour quickie about magnets sticking to the arm of your shot hole, your hole in your arm where you got your shots, your jabs, or whatever the fuck. I don't know the language here. The shoves or whatever you got. So Eric went ahead and he's got his shots. Eric's got no problem with that. So he went ahead and got both shots. He got his first shot, then his booster shot. And so there has been a buzz. And again, people, this is nothing. So don't think the fear. This is not the scary thing. But it appears that, oddly enough, that if you put a magnet onto the area where you've gotten a shot, the magnet will stick to your arm. There's something in it that is fine metals. Okay, let's see your arm. Let's see. It's a magnet strip, right?
Yeah. That's a magnet strip.
Okay. So give us the arm with the shot in it.
Oh.
It sticks, right? Yeah.
Am I?
Nothing?
No. Is it supposed to stick?
Supposed to stick. I don't. That's why I wanted to see it. We wanted to see if it's real or not. I want to see if it's real. So nothing. So you got 2 shots in that arm.
Yeah.
No sticking. Okay. We want to see it right here. We want to debunk it or support it, whatever.
And that's.
I want to see what happens.
That's
so that is a magnet. I mean, does it actually the magnet work?
Yeah, I got it. I pulled it off the fridge.
Oh, okay.
I just took it off the fridge.
So it doesn't stick to your. That's where you got your shot, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to find.
Let's see.
Look, just to prove to you that it's a magnet.
Okay.
See, it's sticking to that.
Okay, sticking to that. Okay. Now, supposedly, according to the myth, I use the word myth, you're able to stick it to your arm where you've gotten the shot, or a shot, and it should stay. That's the whole thing. There's a TikTok craze going on. A small, strong magnet. Yeah. So
now use a fridge magnet. I mean, I don't have big magnets. I mean, it's only, it's, I don't know. I mean, this magnet's pretty strong in my opinion.
huh.
Yeah. Oh, did you hear, Bob? Since you're in the UK, I'm not going to get into pandemic talk, but there's they're coming out where the CDC are easing up restrictions on how to wear this for the people. Who got stuff. Yeah. So it's finally try a small fridge magnet. I'll tell you guys what. I'll go buy I'll go buy a real actual magnet, and on Monday we'll retry it.
Yeah, remember, Eric, though, that applies to people without beards. I got a beard, so they can't do that. Like you can only wear it a certain way with a beard. We don't have a choice. Beard people can't wear it any way but what we could wear. So, yeah, and I highly doubt if they're going to stop you on the street.
Listen, I think that a rare earth magnet may work.
Yeah, there was. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know that myth about the magnet thing. I haven't seen. I don't know. I can't get one. I'm allergic, and besides, if I get a shot, Eric knows I have a cow that will explode into flames. It's part of my religion. I can't have it. It will kill my cow as soon as I get a shot. It'll blow up into flames. Can't have it.
I'm a football fanatic. I love football. I go to football games, and they're saying that this year they're opening up opening up where people go back into the football games, but only if you have the shots.
Well, yeah, they're doing the old passport thing. Yeah.
So, yeah. And I'm going to football. I don't care. I was more worried if Eric will still be here the next time next year. True. But guys, for me, you guys got to understand. I worked in the medical field for the last 5 years, my last job, and every single year it was mandatory. It's mandatory. You have to get shots no matter what. So for the last 5 years, my arms was being stick with. You're right. I don't know what's going in there, but for my job, you don't have a choice. And for me, I never got sick, never got anything affected, nothing at all with all the shots. So, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys what you need to do or not. It's up to you. It's your body, your choice.
Yeah. Individual basis only. Yeah.
For me, even the military. If you go in the military, fuck. I remember, Bob. You remember this?
Yeah.
First day of boot camp, you stand in line, and they shoot you up with air guns for shots.
Ow.
And the thing is, you're not getting, Bob, in boot camp. You weren't getting one shot. You were getting like 5 shots, right? And if you go ask a soldier, like, what are you giving me? Get back in line, shut the fuck up, and go forward. You don't know what they're putting in you.
Yeah, you don't ask what you're getting. You just get the shots. They take your blood. They take a lot of it too.
I saw the magnet video, but I'm unsure why or even how. I mean, wouldn't the metals move around? And that's a good point. Listen, when they stick a shot, it goes into your body. It's usually gone. Listen, there's a lot of conspiracies out there, and 98% of those I don't give a shit about. They're all fucking fake. I'm serious. I'm not. Dude, I'm not gonna get into it, but there's a fucking lady out there saying, "Look at the mess. There's worms in it. Listen, doctors have to wear it during surgeries. And if you guys all, I guess, and also, who cares? Worms are protein. Worms are healthy for you.
Eat them. Yes. Yes.
I'm not here. I don't even want to talk about that shit. I don't even want to talk about that
I just
shit.
wanted to see if it's the magnet stuck to your arm. That's the only thing I wanted to see. I want to see.
Yeah, no choice in service boot camp. They literally own your ass. You're right, man. Dude, you remember? And they tell you when they do the air guns, they go, "Don't move because if you move, the air gun could cut you.
It'll cut you." Did you just give me the same shot like twice?
And you always got a few people in front that can't handle it, and they're all passed out on the ground. There's always people who are passed out.
Yeah.
What is this? Both of you show me how you salute.
Oh. That's how I did it. I had a Dixie cup. You talking about lifting the helmets? You know, lift the helmets. You know, lift it slightly. You know, you always do it when you lift it like we practice by lifting he knows what I'm talking about. You lift the helmet. He knows what I'm talking about.
I do want to say
that's his answer. He knows
I do want to say I understand Medell affected why your explanation of why you don't want to do a show anymore on your channel, but I do want to say I do miss it. You have great information. I love your information. You do a great job on your show. I wish you would come back. But I understand why you're not doing it. I understand that. But hey, Medell affected, if you ever want to jump on with us on a day, I'm serious. I'm going to type in my email address here. You email me, buddy. And anytime you ever want to come on with Bob and I, come on, because you got a lot of great knowledge. You got a lot of great stuff.
He'll make us look dumb. He's too smart.
Yeah, you'll make us look dumb. You really would. Yeah. Oh, it's not hard to make me look dumb.
Yeah, it's actually kind of easy.
What's to say? Military shots, smelling colors was so much fun after. Yeah. And Bob would tell you, now I was stationed in America mostly because I was in the Coast Guard. Bob was in the Navy. And Bob would tell you that if any part of the country they go to, for him to get off the boat, he had to get a shot for those countries.
Yeah. You got to get the shot. Like, was in Japan, some fucked weird name, some Japanese something shot. Like, what? For what? And I was an RH negative, so I had to give blood all the time.
And Bob, and I'm sure, Bob, if you were on a ship for months at a time, and they tell, and you could be against all shots, but I'm sure you're like, I don't give a fuck. Just stick me with something so I can get off this boat.
I want liberty. Give me the damn shot. I don't care what you put in me. I don't care at this point. To die anyway. Screw it. Liberty's more important. Give me the shot.
Blood has iron, maybe small magnets cling to any wound. You know what? If you guys remember what movie was it? There was an X-Men movie. Maybe it was the second one where Magneto is trapped in a special prison because Magneto can move magnets. So what if anybody remembers this in the movie? The security guard was at a bar, and I can't remember if it was a woman or something, and this person put iron pills or maybe a shot to him, and put iron in his blood. So in the movie, in the X-Men, I think it was the second one, when the prisoner went to go bring food to him, Magneto sensed the iron in his blood and was able to take the iron out from his body and use it as a tool to escape. I'm not saying that's a clue for something, but yeah, Tom. Yeah, they put metal in his blood on purpose. So Magneto was able to yank that metal out from his body and, of course, create a hole where he breaks the prison.
Yeah.
Why
so you guys don't have
that? I don't know.
You guys do not have radioactive metals in your bloodstream.
Magneto can manipulate metals. She ejected irons into him. Yeah, okay, it was a shot. Yeah. She ejected irons into him on purpose. Yes.
Oh. Not good. Yeah, you guys, whoever got the shots, you have iron metal in you now. You're gonna glow. You're gonna grow horns. You're gonna become sterile. You're gonna sweat profusely. You're gonna turn into women. Eric already looks feminine to me. I don't know. He took the shot not too long ago. He's already got man boobs going. He's looking feminine. I don't know. I'm scared right now. I'm taking notes. I'm watching Eric closely, guys, for you guys. Research.
What are you trying to say?
Say words.
What are you trying to say? That got side effects?
Say words. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Say those words. Say it, but backwards in Spanish.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're dying. You're part of the agenda. You are definitely dying. Okay, moving on to the next victim.
Well,
Number of the beast.
beyond that, guys, I had a great time. I think we did a lot of. I hope you guys got a lot of information out of the show today. I really do. If you missed the beginning, guys, I played a video of a couple young kids explaining this, and I just thought it was terrific to hear young people talk about this because they're smarter than most of these conspiracy channels are. These kids are very smart. Beyond that, guys, I believe I did a cool show yesterday on Horror Talk channel where I played an actual audio of the girl who's possessed and showed a clip from the movie to compare it. I thought that was fun. That was great. You guys check that out. But beyond that, Bob, are you doing the show this weekend that anybody needs to know about?
I might or might not. I've been on so many shows. I'm so burned out. I might help somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might help somebody else with their show, but that's about it. I don't know. Maybe not. I'm burned out, man. Burned the fuck out. Tired. I might want to watch movies.
What is this? Yeah. Have you seen my beard? Bob, have you seen Ben N's beard?
I have not seen your beard, my friend. You should put a picture on with your beard next time on your avatar. Just a quickie, then take it off. But yeah, good for you for growing one.
Eric,
you get more testosterone.
What is your superpower? My superpower is I can smell bullshit from people.
Oh, shit.
That's my superpower. I can smell bullshit from people.
Yes, you can. My God, that's a good superpower.
Last thing, for your information, my salute changed in 1917.
Huh? I don't know. How? Oh, shit. I wish you were on here. How? Tell me if I'm close to it. Because our fingers have changed, so our thumb joint has changed. So is that something to do with the thumb joint? You tilt the helmet. Okay? You tilt the... You're giving honor to the tilting the helmet.
Okay,
so
no, but I understand he said there's a change in the salute, but what does he mean by my salute change in 1917? What does 1917 have to do?
I think he was Navy's. Oh, it's the same damn salute. So
hold on a second. Let me type in real quick, and we'll end the show. Hold on. How to do a military salute? Hold on a second.
Okay,
hold on. Let me share the screen, and then we'll end the show right after this salute because this is too interesting.
So maybe they changed the position where the thumb is supposed to be.
Especially a proper salute goes as follows.
Elbow.
Raise the right hand sharply, fingers and thumbs extended and joined, palm facing down, and place the tip of the right forefinger on the rim of the visor and slightly to the right of the eye. Okay, hold on. So according to this,
wait a minute. Did the Britons have their hands exposed? Well, didn't they? Didn't you guys expose your hand? Didn't you guys have your hand tilted out? Is that? Did you guys like that guy? The guy with the red, the guy in the red. Wasn't that their hands were exposed out?
Oh, hold on. Are you making fun of me? His superpower is the ability to make you think he's an idiot. What?
That's a good superpower.
Okay.
That's a good superpower.
Okay. I'm an idiot. I know salute like in Flash Gordon. Flesh, not Flash. Oh, dude, I know Flesh Gordon. That's actually was rated X, not triple X, rated X. We know the movie Flesh Gordon.
I'm used to Benny Hill.
He wrote no.
Okay, he wasn't like the Benny Hill show.
On this picture,
What is that? That's fake, though. It's like the Benny Hill show. I want to know how. I know how I did it. I always just remember just tilt your hat. Just tilt your hat. Tilt your hat. Just, elbow. Tilt your hat. Crisp, clean.
well,
The British though.
Hold on a second.
He's British.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
What's the?
This is only 40 seconds. This is Army Cadets Official How to Salute. Here we go.
But is that Britain?
Lieutenant Karen, and this is how to salute.
Here we go. Hold on.
The right arm is raised sideways until it is horizontal. Straighten the fingers and thumb, keeping them together, palm to the front. The elbow is bent until the tip of the forefinger is 1 inch above the right eye. Body is frozen in this position. The elbow is then forced forward and the finger and thumb curled into a fist. The hand forced down to the side of the body by straightening the arm.
Really?
So you guys don't tilt your helmet. You just set your hand on the helmet. But you guys tilted your helmet. We got it from you.
In the UK, when saluting, we use the first phalanx of a thumb to contact our right eyebrow with the palm facing down, just like when shading your eyes. Although now it's changed in 1917.
Yeah, I remember touching the fucking the top of your eyebrow. Because you have I had a Dixie.
Is he waving at me in that picture? Almost like he's waving at you.
That was on the Benny Hill show. That was a comedy.
However, in Canada, we salute as American salute. The old timers still use the British style on Veterans Day. Wow, dude, this is why I love this channel. We learn so much. Now to do the whole fucking weekend, I'm gonna be thinking to myself, how did we salute in boot camp in the military? How did we do it? Now. Thanks a lot, fucking Mandela Affected. Your video is so wrong. It's not my video. That video is not my video. This video says it's done by Army Cadets Official.
Tilt the helmet. We got it from Britain. You tilt the helmet. That's how I learned it in the Navy.
Don't forget to blink while you're doing it, Bob.
You got sunglasses on.
Exactly. Benny Hill was taking the piss.
Yeah, right. Thank you for saying that. Benny Hill did it because it was a comedy. It was satire. He would do that stupid stance and put his hand flat because it was funny.
I love Benny Hill. It was played out late night on Friday night.
Yeah, it was supposed to be funny. You know, it wasn't. If he wanted to not be funny, he'd do it the other way. He'd make fun of the Americans by doing a stupid slap in the face.
The video you shot. Well, beyond that, guys, I want to say thank you guys for being here today. I thought it was one of our best shows, talking about information, and hopefully you guys learned that make your own decisions, man. Don't just follow morons out there. Make sure you understand. If you hear something for the first time, make sure you just study it and try to understand it before you jump into the game where you don't know anything about it. So beyond that, guys, have a good one, and we'll see you on Monday.